welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Well, it's time to move on as we usher in our next guest, Charles Odii, who is a trained entrepreneurship expert and currently Director General, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency. Good morning, Mr. Odii. Good to have you join us on the morning show today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for having me this morning.
Morning.
All right, thank you. I mean, few minutes ago, we were talking about inflation, food inflation, etc., and how it's all affecting Nigerians, particularly, the people. But of course, I know that you heard SMEDAN, and these are also part of your own worries, small and medium enterprises who are struggling to stay afloat. How has it been, looking at it from a panoramic view of SMEDAN? What are the struggles, and would you say that in the last 6-7 months of the new administration, if anything has changed at all for small and medium scale enterprises in Nigeria?
Thank you again for having me. Firstly, I would like to speak about what we are saddled with as the responsibilities at SMEDAN. A couple of people do not know what we are, and so very recently I was speaking and I was saying, we are SMEDAN, and someone was asking, oh sorry, is that an NGO? What exactly are you guys? So SMEDAN basically, like I said, the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, is saddled with the responsibility of coordinating and monitoring all of the development activities for small businesses across the country. We are saddled with the responsibility of the vanguard for rural industrialization, poverty alleviation, livelihood enhancement, as well as connecting small businesses with financing locally and out of the country. One of the things that we also do is act as the platform between the small businesses and the government. But last but not the least, just helping to modernize the operations of small businesses. So looking at those responsibilities and looking at what you have asked as regards the struggle or the outlook in the last 6 months, I think it's a new day for small businesses in Nigeria. And I'll tell you why. Firstly, if you take, looking at the panoramic views you've spoken about,
yes.
If you take 10 small businesses and put in this room today and ask them what their number one problem is, I can tell you about 8 out of 9 of them will tell you access to finance is the fundamental problem. And so what we're doing as an agency is starting to address that. Okay. Because we understand that finance in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is very scarce and is also very limited and very expensive as well. So what we're doing is addressing that head on. What we've done is we've signed a loan portfolio of a single digit non-collateral loan with Sterling Bank. This loan portfolio is 5 billion naira. So a small business owner can access this loan from as little as 250,000 to 2.5 million naira for purchase of equipment, for working capital, for workspaces, as well as just their procurements that they usually do.
Is it nationwide access?
Nationwide access. So small businesses in different subsectors, small scale farmers, retailers, entrepreneurs in the digital space can all access this fund, and then they can use it for business growth and expansion. Also, we have worked closely with state governments. So we've also signed a loan portfolio of 1 billion naira with the Anambra State government for small businesses in Anambra State, for them to actually access financing and scale, because most of the young people and entrepreneurs in Anambra are actually very enterprising. And so if they have access to that kind of financing, they can use it for business growth and business expansion. So those are some of the things that we're doing in terms of democratizing access to finance, which is the fundamental problem for small businesses. So looking at it, I've resumed office in the last 2 months, and 2 days ago made it my 2-month anniversary. And one of the things that I've taken head on is to try to democratize this access, access to this finance. And we're, in other cases, building the real path for small businesses so that when this real path is built, the train can now leave the station and every small businesses in Nigeria can be affected, impacted positively and carried along.
Right.
All right. And are you working, you've spoken about access to finance, but there's also upskilling? You know, you said that you are helping the rural people get more modernized in terms of their business activities. So what plans do you have in terms of, you know, helping to upskill rural business owners and help them access this more modern global market?
I think that's a fantastic question. People in the rural areas are the ones that are still running businesses with the old ways of doing business. So they're probably the ones who are using firewood to cook. They're the ones who are even affected by any policy that the government might make positively or indirectly. But for the people in the rural areas, one of the things that we're doing is we're helping when we're talking about disbursements of funds in terms of loans, is a real track. And before we do that, one of the things that we do is capacity development. After we identify the small businesses, especially many of them in rural areas, one of the things that we do is to help them with training. We train them. We're very big on training at SMEDAN. We're training month in, month out. So we identify them, train them on modernizing their operations.
What type of training?
So the trainings cut across entrepreneurial trainings to vocational skill trainings, to basically just even digital trainings on how they can access funds, how they can use these funds to expand their businesses, and basically what it is to run a business, especially in the rural areas. But one of the programs that we're doing that is affecting the entrepreneurs in the rural areas basically is something that we've identified as one local government, one product. It's called All Up. So all the 774 local governments usually have clusters of raw materials that are deposited in those local governments. And what we're doing is working with the different clusters and working with the different cooperatives in these 774 local governments to make sure that we can harness those raw materials, help for local consumption and also for exports in all of the local governments across Nigeria.
Has there been an update on, of the national survey, the one carried out by SMEDAN together with MBS, captured about 41.5 million MSMEs? Has there been an update on that figure? Where are we now? How large, is that sector? Because that will lead me to the next question.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to do in the next few months is run a national business census.
Okay.
Because if you ask PwC will give you a different number. If you ask the World Bank will give you a different number. The survey we conducted says about 41 million. But when we start to narrow down on this data, when you ask where the small businesses are, what are their pain points, what's the nature of the business, then you start to see that the data somewhat is not comprehensive. So one of the things that we want to do, because we cannot start to make and design interventions without actually knowing who we're doing it for. Data. When we know those small businesses, where they are, where they're located, then we can now come up with interventions that can help, impact their lives positively. But also, if you look at the data, we lost about 3 million small businesses in the last 3 years. And, it spanned from insecurity to COVID-19 and to the ease of doing business. So, for instance, those 3 million largely were, Kaduna, Rivers, Benue, but we are starting to address that head on. So one of the first stakeholders I met with is the IG of police. And I said to him, Mr. IG, small business, the lives and properties of small businesses are threatened across Nigeria. What can we do? And we sat down to say, listen, that should be number one priority. If we understand that small businesses are the lifeblood of any economy, they contribute to 50% of our GDP, they employ over 60 million people, they're responsible for 50% of our industrial jobs, we need to protect them. So he has helped with a memo that's going to all the commissioners of police. They say, listen, we need to prioritize the lives and properties of small businesses across the Federation of Nigeria. Also, one of the reasons why we lost small businesses are the ease of doing business. And so on the 1st of December this year, His Excellency the Vice President commissioned the National Council of MSMEs. So this council is a one-stop shop for all small business operators in Nigeria. So I want to start something, I go in there and almost immediately I know what I need to start, scale, and grow my enterprises. So on that council we have the FIRS, we have the Standard Operations of Standard Organization of Nigeria, we have NAFDAC, we've got NEPC, we've got NIPC, we've got everyone that can help you as a government agency, start a business and grow.
Okay.
And so what we're going to see in the next few days is this cascading of this National Council of SMEs into the state level. I was recently with the governor of Enugu, and he has promised me that he's going to inaugurate that in
what
the
will the
state.
council be doing?
This council will be helping in their states to to help with the ease of doing business in the different states. And at the state level, the chairman is the governor, and the SMEDAN secretariat will help in assisting the operations. And you know, I commend the governor of Sokoto, who almost immediately went ahead to inaugurate. And I'm asking and hoping that all the state governors across Nigeria will go ahead and constitute this Council of SMEs, those who have done and those who have not done, to look at how important these councils are, so helping ease of operations at the different state levels.
Prior to being the DG of SMEDAN, you were in charge of SME 100, and you're an entrepreneur yourself. What have you taken from your experience leading SME 100, and you know, in dealing with so many different types of entrepreneurs? What have you taken from your role at SME 100 into SMEDAN? What should we be expecting to see in the next year of your role as a DG?
I think what we can expect really is a lot of advancements for small businesses. So I was on the private side, and now I'm on the government side. So I understand what it is to run a business in Nigeria. And now that I'm on the government side, one of the things that we can expect almost immediately is democratization of access. So access is the main one. Access to finance. We will start to see a lot of injection of funds into this SME subsector. Access to market, we will start to see how we are democratizing that access for small businesses to just start and scale the operations from even out of Nigeria. Access to training, we will start to see that en masse. Capacity development and mentorship for small businesses, and the last but not the least is a community, a very strong community of retired CEOs. Ex-government officials like this, coming to the fore to see how we can help advance policies, a lot of advocacy for small businesses and the small business courses.
Okay, as we begin to wrap up, your first 2 months as DG, what will you say is your biggest challenge as the DG? And then talking in terms of the difficulty in accessing finance, what is the role of microfinance banks in all of these? I mean, they are practically like everywhere. Are they not playing the role that they're expected to play for startups, for SMSEs, and things like that? Are they up to the task?
Yes, so microfinance banks are very critical. And so in the program that I spoke about, the One Local Government, One Product, we disburse these funds to microfinance banks because we understand that they're in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. But what we have not seen in time past is microfinance bank not running their operations negligence of the fact that small businesses have needs. So many times we see microfinance banks, and I was speaking with the DG of the National NDPC, who's responsible for data collation in Nigeria. Many of our microfinance banks are data processors and data collectors, and what then happens is that when the small businesses default in terms of payment or loan, one of the things that you see is a large harassment from the microfinance banks. Some of them have gone as far as printing obituary letters and threatening many of the borrowers, and it's one of the things that we would like to see and caution the small business microfinance bank owners. The small business owners, if and again, some of the small business owners have some blame, when they take the money and they don't use the money for what they need to use it for, which is one of the things that we're trying to solve with capacity development and training small business owners. But to a large extent, the microfinance bank operators have not encouraged small business owners in terms of loan portfolios. Many of them are not given single-digit interest rates. And so one of the things that we're doing is helping with the disbursements of funds, the access of funds at the micro level using the microfinance banks. And we're going to continue to work with them. And then, we have a lot of forum where we'll bring them in, talk to them and advise them on some of the challenges, expose them to some of our research on the field so that they can know how to better help their operations to guide the small business owners in the nooks and crannies across Nigeria.
And your 2 months, the first part of my question.
Yes, the 2 months have been so far so good. I think that the biggest challenge, I think that, and it's not just for SMEDAN, I think for government as a whole, government is doing a lot. But what has happened is that I've gone around, different states, holding town hall meetings with small businesses. There's a disconnect with what government is doing and the people that government is supposed to govern. So what we need to do is, again, come to the media, to say thank you so much for the work that you're doing, but again, continue to be our partners, to disseminate the information that we have as government. Because many of the people, when I ask them, do you know about the conditional grant scheme from SMEDAN? Have you heard about the presidential conditional grant scheme? Have you heard about one local government, one product? Have you heard about our matching fund? And they're just looking like, what? I'll give you an instance. We had the matching fund with Jai's Bank, 601 million naira. Guess how many people have accessed that fund?
How many?
Less than 10 people.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. People do not even know.
More than 600 million?
Over 600 million for small businesses. So again, there's some regulations in accessing, which we're also trying to reduce. But again, the access to information within government and small business owners have been a challenge. And that's one of the things that I see as trying to solve in my last 2 months.
All right, Mr. Charles Odii, we want to say a very big thank you to you, for joining us on the morning show today, and we wish you the very best, as a DG of SMEDAN.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.